Thank you, sir. Okay, we're recorded. You need to hit that. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world today, joining us. So welcome. We are going to be talking about the power of partnerships in our session today. My name is Jenny Davis. I'm with Sinclair College in Dayton, Ohio, and my official title is I'm Assistant Director for Quality Assurance, Compliance, and Training. And also joining us next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Heston, Professor of Inorganic Chemistry at Walsh University, and I also serve as the QM Faculty Liaison for e-learning.
And hello, everyone. I'm Steve Kaufman. I'm from the University of Akron. I'm a Senior ID and Strategic Initiatives Coordinator, whatever that means. Long titles, so we like the long titles in the QM family. And I'm also the co-state lead with Jenny here for the QM Ohio Consortium.
Thank you. Thank you. To be here. Pre-pause. This is awesome. So we do have some Slido polls. We're going to start here in a second. So if you wouldn't mind, if you are in the room or if you're online, to go into Slido and get connected, and we'll have Steve get these turned on here in a second. Do we need to go back? Did everybody get that? Okay, it's in the chat. Great. Okay. So during our time together this afternoon, again, good morning, good evening, good night. We're going to talk about our Ohio partnership, our Ohio QM Consortium, and really kind of go through with you how this partnership works, give you some suggestions for how you could perchance start one of your own, small, go big, and then also talk about how having something like the consortium gives you opportunities for professional development and also leadership amongst your constituency. So Steve's going to get our actual polls going for us. So again, if you would get into Slido, then we have a few questions just to get an idea of who we have in both in the room and also on Zoom. So what do you do? And we know a lot of you are thinking, oh, I do all of this, but what's your primary role? What's going down? Administrators are going down. Okay, it's oh, we were 85% there for a second. It's kind of fitting, and now change that. I see it happen. Yeah. Okay. All right. So a lot of IDs, online support. Big part of the conference this year. Everyone I've talked to pretty much has been an instructional designer. A lot of that. Okay. Our next question. Okay. Are you part of a system like we are? Do you have your own consortium for your institutions around you? Are you, do you actually join QM national only, or do you have another group that you join in the system? Oh, all our Ohio people are helping the yes numbers, I think. Okay. Oh, changes quickly. Okay. When you're thinking about implementation of QM at your institution, what are some of the challenges that you face? Because we know not everything's perfect and smooth. So what are some of the things that you face, difficulties? If you were doing your SWOT analysis, what are some of your challenges? I think we have a theme, folks. I think we have a theme. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. Oh, cost. Okay. Wow. Before our deadline, I find that interesting. I'd like to know more about that deadline statement, maybe. One last person typing. So definitely some themes about cost, themes about faculty buy-in.
I like where you mentioned the limited staffing.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think our system really shines.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Steve. He's going to talk to you about our history. Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. So a little bit about QM Ohio. We've been around in some capacity since 2008. And we formally became a consortium in our present form in 2009, which you'll see on the nice little handout that we have in front of you. We're currently at 53 institutions strong. The number really fluctuates from term to term. It really just depends on where they are on the accreditation cycle, I've discovered. And we've noticed some things about how institutions either persist or don't persist with a QM subscription. So we'll talk about a little bit about that later. The benefit that we have in QM Ohio and something that makes us a little unique and maybe a little different from other systems is that we do have a funding model. And so when you subscribe to QM, you pay your subscription fee, and QM Ohio tacks on $500 to that. It's never increased in the history of our consortium. Our costs haven't really gone up, but because of that $500, that when we were at 60 institutions, it gave us a $30,000 budget. And so the nice thing is that we can take that money and do professional development with it and invest it back in the consortium. That's like rule one for us, is making sure that we're taking and being good stewards of the funds that we receive and pouring it back into our membership, because that's what drives the ball down the field, so to speak. So it covers our annual member meeting, which we'll talk about. Any professional development opportunities that we want to fund. If we notice that there's a shortage of a particular role within the state, a peer reviewer, master reviewer, a course review manager, will make those funds available for mini scholarships. And the institutions definitely take advantage of that. We do regional meetings. We're a rather large state, as you might expect. We're very distributed. So it's nice to break it up into smaller little bite-sized pieces where the different regions can get together. We offer scholarships. For example, some of you that are on the call right now have received a QM Ohio scholarship because you're watching virtually. So congratulations. I'm really happy that you're here and online and enjoy the scholarship. And of course, communication tools. And that's one of the biggest advantages that we have in QM Ohio is, I think just in the last couple of years, we are on point with communications. You can get into a bunch of different ways on how to get your questions answered, especially to the person who put in the chat about whether or not you have limited resources in terms of staffing. It's great to be able to kind of crowdsource some of those answers so you don't have to think by yourself on some of those things. And so you can see, we always love this slide, but it takes forever to build. But let's see if it'll go. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. We have more than 10 institutions. I'll go to the actual laptop and push the, oh, there we go. They're coming along. We'll give it a second here. There we go. There's the full one. So these are all the different institutions. I love sharing this slide because the thing that you'll notice that's really unique about our system is that we don't discriminate on the type of institution that you are. So we have four-year public institutions, four-year private institutions, we have community colleges, we have for-profit technical colleges, and they all have different challenges. And we can leverage the fact that we have such a diverse population of institutions to be able to really think about how we're going to meet these challenges. It is to note that our entire team in QM Ohio is 100% volunteer. Nobody gets paid to do this work. We just believe in QM. And that's part of the trick, is finding the people who are going to be your flag wavers on campus. It's probably you. If you're in this room, you're probably the QM flag waver for your campus, right? I've got an award winner right here. So we know that we've got people who are really into QM, and it wouldn't be possible unless you had a lot of hands doing this, because it's just too many moving parts for any small group of individuals to do. So we have 15 people and we rotate. We have terms every 3 years. People go up for re-election, and the board doesn't change that much because we love it so much. So sometimes it's a little hard to get on the board because we don't tend to go away, but that I think is a good thing. Build on that professional development and that strength. There we go. So here's kind of where we are in the state. You'll see that there's like a large conglomeration in Northeast Ohio. We try and make sure that we have good representation in each area and that all of the different regions are relatively the same size. And if you want to see how it is broken up by region, I had a region map here. It's being slow on the clicker. Apologies. There we go. We actually came up with that map through, if you look up Ohio wine country and the different wine regions, that's how we originally came up with the map. But we don't make fun of us. But no, but that is actually a true story. That's how we originally divided up the counties. So you can tell that as a little trivia fact for Ohio. But it really is nice to be able to have a point person that could potentially drive to your campus to explain QM or to facilitate an APP QMR or an IYOC for you. And you have a local name that you can get to know. It's all about networking and getting to know who your support people are. Oh, one right, one back. There we go. So here's the breakdown. We have 13. We have almost every state school in the state that subscribes to QM Ohio. We have 21 four-year private institutions, 16 community colleges, and 3 regional technical or for-profit. Those are like colleges of nursing, technical schools, those kinds of things. So we really love the fact that you've got all these different institution types. I know that a lot of systems within QM are very like type of institution specific, like we are the Texas community colleges or the Florida community colleges or whatever it happens to be. So it's interesting. I would say if you're just getting started with systems, if there's a way for you to do collaboration across different institution types, that will only serve to be an asset for you. So now we can go next slide. There we go. So we joke around about, well, Chuck Piscatello, who isn't here today, but Chuck came up with the QM gravy, which you might see online, right? It's our spreading the secret recipe for QM. And what is our secret recipe in Ohio? Oh, look, and we have the gravy boat right here. Gravy boat is here in person. But our secret recipe is really built on a culture of service. This would not work unless people were dedicated and willing to do the work uncompensated. Really, it's really time that you're investing, right? And we're not necessarily giving out stipends for this and that. So it's built on a culture of service and a sustainable funding model. And that's really key. Even if it's a nominal fee that you're charging, like $100, $200, it gives you something to work with. And we'll talk about how we leverage that in our different institutional contexts here in a second. And then, of course, the last part of our recipe, if it'll click. Yeah, I know, is working technology. Yep, go for it. A secret blend of 53 herbs and spices. That's the thing. Okay, so with that, let me turn it over to Amy.
Thank you. So what we wanted to look at next is how the partnerships support each institution. So we have basically 3 categories. The first is professional development. So that would include like QMC monthly webinars. We get together with our annual member meeting. We'll talk more about that later. And then also thinking about the bartered reviews. Currently, Ohio has over 650 certified courses across the state, but from that, so 400 of those have utilized the barter system, these barter credits. And that's really significant because it has allowed us to save across the state over $400,000. And then we keep in communication and connect with each other on a regular basis through things like social media, Slack channel. And then some other common resources. We have a QM Ohio website. We share resource guides, other information there for those that are new can jump on board with those. And we have some new projects such as the Ohio Impact Awards and also QM Ohio research projects. Now, we wanted to give you a chance to see some challenges that the consortium has. We are thinking about the process going from internal reviews to an official course review through QM National. And we're thinking about what's stopping individuals from going that next step. We're seeing a lot of internal reviews, but then that next step, there's like a pause. And so we're trying to see what that's all about. And then also what is stopping faculty and staff members from going further and becoming reviewers. And then we looked closely at the barter system and we found that there's some institutions with a high number of barter credits that have not been utilized. And so we are asking ourselves, well, why is that? Why are they not using these credits for something positive and something to move forward? And then we also have a need for master reviewers. And then we also ask ourselves the question, where does quality assurance fit in the member institutions? And now Jenny's going to tell us a little bit about Sinclair College.
Sure, go ahead. So we, again, are a consortium of member institutions, and those member institutions pay a $500 annual add-on for funding of the consortium. And with that, we're going to share with you all the different things that we do. So we're going to talk about from each of our different type of institutions, how we use the consortium and where our money goes essentially. Oh, yes, we do. We do. Yes. All of the webinars, all of the resources that QM National has, we still use all those. We also have our own Ohio-based like resource guides for if you're a QMC in Ohio, here's some resources for you. If you want to facilitate or host an APP QMR. Here's some additional resources for you to help you with that process. Because sometimes when you look at the materials from QM National, they're wonderful, but then you start thinking about how do I really implement them at my home institution? What are the logistics I need to do? And so we kind of take what QM National has and make it more personalized. It's a big benefit that we do. Any other questions about, again, we're going to talk through the different categories in more detail as we go through our different institutions.
Jill, are there any questions online? Good. Okay.
Okay. So again, I'm Jenny Davis from Sinclair. We used to be community college. Now we've kind of dropped the community a little bit because we're able to offer bachelor degrees at my institution as well. A few of them, we're moving into that. But we pride ourselves on multimodality development. We have been one of the big contenders in the field with competency-based, we call it flex pace. But when we look at course development, we actually take the course and figure out how can we take that course and develop it online, blended, competency-based, create a PLA, do face-to-face, and also the prison system. And so we're taking all those materials and trying to develop them out. Our catalog has grown exponentially. When we converted our last LMS conversion, we had 220 online courses. Now we're over 600 courses, and many of those courses are built out in 5 to 6 modalities. So you can see how it's really grown exponentially. We have 19 QM certified courses. We're starting to hit that recertification phase. But part of the reason why we only have 19, the next slide, if you will, for me, Steve. We have all of our staff in our e-learning division go through QM training. All of the IDs are peer reviewers. But along with the successes, you also have some challenges of getting faculty to take training. And I don't know about you, but right now getting faculty to do any training is difficult. I think coming out of COVID, people are just burnt out, and that's been a big issue. But we took the QM principles and we embedded them into our template. So we have a master course template, and we try to cover as many of the specific review standards as we can in that template. And so if it's not in the template, it's in our process. And again, because all of the IDs are trained, becomes this continuous improvement, sound familiar? Circular process of how we do things. And so when I talk to leadership or talk to faculty, I bring up, they hear QM and sometimes they think, oh, that's hard. But if I say, our focus is quality assurance. QM is our tool. No one argues they want quality courses. And so that's something I think is a strength that we have. But how we use the consortium at Sinclair, we were initial members in 2009. So we weren't in the first group, but like the second phase in 2009. And we really revamped back up in 2016. And the idea behind what we are doing is that we attend the events, we attend the monthly webinars, we use the communication channels. A lot of our IDs who became peer reviewers, it was through scholarships. And so having that support, and all of our reviews, all of our certified courses used, if not all 3 members were from bartered reviews, 2 of them were. We had a little bit of issue with sometimes finding a subject matter expert within the state. We had to go out of state for a few courses, but for the most part, again, and that saved us money. We were able to, to use that. And then in turn, our people do reviews for other institutions, earning us more credits so that we can do more reviews for our courses. And so that give and take, that's really a big support of what we can do. And I think, as Steve mentioned, not feeling alone. We have these communication channels and we use them. Someone will post a question. For example, I'll use Caroline in the room. She was asking about master course models. And so a bunch of us jumped right in and said, hey, we do that. And so we were able to help her get more ideas and suggestions on how to solve the questions that she has. And so sometimes you can feel alone. A lot of institutions, you're the single person doing this. By having a consortium, put out those questions, you can get answers. And so that's a lot of what we do as well. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. Now I'm going to turn it over. So we're going to go from a 2-year to a 4-year.
Hello. So yeah, at the University of Akron, we've been doing QM for a long time. And I was very fortunate to take over from Jill Phipps, who some of you might know. She was kind of the OG QMer at the University of Akron. And so I was able to kind of take over the lead after she retired. And so where we are currently at Akron is we have 770 fully online courses, probably across a couple hundred online courses. And those are, of course, all the different sections that we have of that. I pulled our duplicated headcount the other day, and I was astonished to see that post-pandemic, we are now double where we were, about 8,600 students pre-pandemic back in 2019. This is after everybody has now gone back to normal, quote unquote, right? Is there a new normal? I don't know. But now we're almost double, 15,840 online enrollments. And I was just curious for the administration to know that 31% of all credit hours delivered at our institution are now online hours, which is a great sign, which should also tell my administration, hey, maybe we should invest in this. This is an important thing. Right now, we haven't really grown our department in years, right? There's 4 designers handling all of these sections. And so we need more staff, need more resources to make these things happen. Over the time of our subscription, we've had 48 QM recognized courses from 2012 to 2023, and we have over 245 APP QMR completers. Now, I love the fact that we've integrated QM professional development into our faculty training cycle. So I have a captive audience. They have to take APP QMR as a part of completing our normal design and development online course workshops. So that's really nice. It's always a nice seed in. They get the workbook. We present it virtually whenever they need to. But that's gotten our faculty members interested in becoming peer reviewers and master reviewers. So I've got 6 master reviewers on campus, including the instructional design team. We have a couple instructional designers who can now serve on reviews. Woohoo! We got our 15 peer reviewers and a team of 6 staff, 4 senior IDs, and 2 multimedia developers. So what's going well at Akron? Well, we have an established process for delivering professional development to faculty. I like to refer to it as like sneaking in the QM vegetables. They don't really know that they're doing QM. And I like that because, you know, you stick up one sheeter, right? And for the best of intentions, QM is great because they give you a 1-page PDF on the website that shows you all the standards, which I promise you, you bring that to a faculty meeting and they all kind of go cross-eyed and they're like, it's too many standards. So bite-sized bits is nice. And then not even telling them it's QM until after they've consumed my workshop meal. Like, haha, you ate broccoli the whole time. That's really nice. So we've done a designing your online course workshop, not to be confused with the DYOC that QM offers. This is kind of our own homegrown way of teaching the faculty members the LMS, but also give them those pedagogical vegetables, not just here's a discussion forum or here's an assignment, here's how we best leverage those tools in the LMS. We do 8 to 10 sessions over a month, about 20 to 30 faculty at a time. Like Jenny, we use a master template that we give to all of our faculty members that are teaching online, and it's got QM, it's all standard 1, standard 6, standard 7, all baked into the template. All the links are already there. It should make reviewing Akron courses really easy, right? And then we created something called the UAkron Online Promise, which is our on-ramp to getting faculty members interested. They are required, if they want to do something called our Online Promise, to meet with the instructional design team 3 times. Once at the beginning, once at the middle, and once at the end. And the idea is that we're taking student feedback that we're asking the entire time and making those actionable. So the idea is that we don't lose an entire cohort of students by the end of the semester. We actually get a chance to use the feedback and course correct if we have to. It's been hugely popular. It's like the secret sauce that we've just stumbled upon at Akron. And I'm going to talk about it more tomorrow if you're interested. The challenges are administrative buy-in. We've had different leaders in different positions that are very influential that are just like, you know what, I've had QM experience at other institutions and it's just too hard. Why should we invest in it? And this is, I help run the state consortium. I'm waving the QM flag. I couldn't wave it any harder, right? And I still could not get people to move the bar for QM. And I think a large part of that is initiative burnout. When you have a lot of turnover that we see in higher ed, the faculty members don't get excited about, oh, here's the new provost or here's the new dean that wants to roll out the new thing. And everyone kind of skeptically goes, okay, I'll go around until you're gone, a year or 2 later. We're finally in a stable leadership environment for the first time in 10 years at Akron, which is like, I know it's like, yes, thank you. We have a president for more than 20 minutes. And that is huge. I'm no joke. I've worked at Akron for 10 years. I had 5 presidents I've worked for, 5. It's crazy, probably 4 provosts. So it's hard to build any kind of momentum when you have that. The perception that QM is too difficult, compensation for time, right? Show me the money. Faculty members want to know, are you going to pay me for this? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but they really like that they don't have to pay retail for reviews because Ohio has something called a bartering system. And we're working on the language of getting QM reviews as a part of the promotion and tenure process. I'm doing a little bit of research on that to see what could we propose to a faculty senate to get approved and have it count towards a P&T process. How do we leverage QM Ohio? Well, we take advantage of the free professional development. We've got our Ohio webinars. We have our annual member meeting that we celebrate all the achievements for all the faculty members' hard work throughout the year. We have certifications that the faculty members can put in their P&T folder, right? That's all a part of their service on reviews as well. And it's great to advertise things constantly, right? I don't have to come up with all the PD on my own. Ohio comes up with the PD and I leverage that. So I fill up my calendar with stuff to advertise. At University of Akron, we have not paid for a review in 7 years, right? And at $1,300 a pop, that's important. I can't budget for that. I don't know if you can at your institution, but that's part of the reason why. And we're happy to share how we do the bartering system, give you the code if you want. And we've met with many systems in the past that want to get started with it, but we haven't had any takers yet. So we can do a deep dive with you if you want. And then the best thing is the network of peers. We have conversations on implementation, just general LMS questions, review requests, and unofficial mentoring. We all kind of just help each other. And that's what I love about the collegiality, right? That's one of the 4 C's of QM, right? Being collegial. And it's definitely true in QM Ohio.
Yes, Walsh University is a private Catholic 4-year institution. And I just wanted to give you some information about who we are. And thinking about this fall, we had a little over 2,300 students, and we have undergraduate and graduate programs, and a special number for everybody. So 916 students last year were enrolled in at least one online class. And then from that, there were 182 students that were enrolled exclusively in online courses. So I thought that was an interesting fact for you to see today. And we have partnerships and collaborations all over the world. Some strengths and challenges I wanted to give you. It turns out that one of our strengths we have is this master shell, like my 2 colleagues were describing at their institutions. And within this course shell, and we also have a syllabus template, we have QM standards aligned within those 2 things, which is really great because then you automatically have this QM going for the faculty and the instructional designers as they're building things. We have some momentum at Walsh, 3 QM certified courses last year to bring us up to 10. So that's great. And as far as the professional development, we've had 29 individuals complete the APP QMR, and then others moving forward to higher roles such as peer reviewer, master reviewer. 1 individual completed the TOC, and 2 currently completed the Quality Matters Coordinator, the QMCT training. And then we had the special opportunity to host the QM Ohio annual member meeting last year. I'll give you some more details in a little bit on that. Some challenges what we have right now is for faculty and staff members to be able to have the time in their schedule to take the AP QMR. And so upon reflection of that challenge, I was thinking, well, let's look at this a different way. Maybe during holiday breaks or summer break, we can think about having these 8-hour course experiences, or maybe not. Maybe the IYOC is actually a better course for some faculty than the more time-intensive course. Maybe the IYOC provides an opportunity for them to have the initial training they need as a first step. And then those that want to go on to higher and deeper levels, like the reviewers, they would be able to go to the next step, which would be the APP QMR. And so this is just a little highlight to show you that Walsh has 10 QM certified courses. So congratulations to my Walsh colleagues, spanning many disciplines from psychology to chemistry. We currently have our first QM certified hybrid course, that's inorganic chemistry, Chem 305, and then we also have 1 in the graduate program in the MBA program, MBA 721. And now some QM implementation that's new and exciting for us. We have a new teaching and learning center called the Center for Academic and Professional Enrichment, or CAPE. And I actually serve as the chair of the Academic Excellence Pillar within CAPE. And so I'm giving small bite-sized chunks of QM throughout the year through workshops and other adventures. And then this special opportunity. When I found out that we were going to get a chance to host the annual member meeting, I was very excited, and I was fortunate to be able to serve as the chair of the meeting. And I'm happy to share with you that we had 20 presentations by 40 presenters, over 160 attendees across Ohio from 20 institutions. And here are just some nice pictures for you to see from our event. And some future steps with QM implementation. We have something really great to share. First student to work with QM as an honors undergraduate research project. And she's also a Walsh employee, by the way. And so very excited about this. Some other nice things coming up is continuing to offer that professional development to faculty and staff members, as well as looking ahead for our first student publication, highlighting the QM momentum within this honors project.
Oh,
It's me.
oh, sorry.
So you might be asking, how do I get started? You know, you've heard what we do. You've heard the different things that we offer. You might be thinking, well, how can I start getting this for me and for institutions around me? So really, you start with one person. You start with contacting, go through your contact list, go through people maybe you've met at this conference from your area, from your state, and start talking to each other. Your communication is a big part of this. So get that list of stakeholders. If your state has a list of all of the community colleges and all of the universities you can get a handle on, email them. Say, hey, what do you think? Can we have a Zoom meeting? Meet for an hour and start talking about this. You also want to think about, okay, once you've got some people, then how can you communicate with them? And so really, again, it really takes one person. A faculty member building upon each other was a great way. Those grassroots effort are a great way to start building this up. That's what happened with us when we went through the resurgence of getting courses certified. I had one faculty member and she said, I'm willing to go on this journey with you. And then we went through it together. And because we use a master course model, we were able to get that multi-section policy extension. So all of that courses online offerings now can carry the QM mark. And all of a sudden, other faculty in your department were like, wait a minute, what is this? This is exciting. And so that grassroots build it up effort. And so start with one person, start with one other institution, and start building from there. If you can get more than one at a time, great, but you only have to start with one, okay? So Steve's gonna talk to you then about what else you can do to get started.
Yeah, so one question you can ask yourself is, what is the mission of your institution, and does quality assurance actually fit into that mission? And very seldom when you just Google mission statement, X university, whatever it is, the words quality assurance or quality don't really appear in there. It's usually something along the lines of, we will provide education to our population or to our region, or be a leader in research in this industry or that industry. But we don't always include that into the strategic plan. And we have to realize that as QM coordinators or as facilitators, you don't realize how much impact you can have as a change agent on your campus. So I bet it does fit into your mission, because like Jenny always says, and I've stolen her quote, I have never heard a faculty member say that they were not concerned about quality in their course. I've never heard anyone say it. And we are kind of one of our many slogans in QM Ohio is quality assurance is the goal, but QM is the tool. Right. And sometimes when you pitch it to faculty, that subtle change, just saying, look, we're all going to do quality, but QM is the research, over 20 years of research that goes into this. It speaks louder than I could as a QM coordinator that already believes in it. So I make the case with some key administrators, just using that simple line. I love this in the Chloe report that came out. Bethany was sharing this in her Chloe readout. How many of you, just quick show of hands, keep quiet about quality? You're probably already doing something on your campus, but I was surprised to see this in the research that, 64% say they practice it, but only 17% use it to actually recruit, right? Think about, Deb was spot on this morning in her opening remarks about how we've never been under more scrutiny now in higher ed as to whether or not it's worth it, right? And it's so interesting to me. I heard a keynote from Todd Zakrajek the other day, actually, He was doing a presentation. He talked about how when he was in school, he didn't even know he could drop a class, right? So students waste these dollars on courses that don't work, or they're not meeting the expectations, the QM expectations that we would set out for those students. And so that's something that we have to think about when we're putting together these courses and these programs. What does a QM certification mean to the student? Clearly communicating that and using that as a marketing opportunity is hugely beneficial. Great communication is everything. If you want to have a successful system, you have to open up the channels of communication. It sounds like a simple thing, but it can be really difficult, especially if there's this feeling in your state or in your consortium that, hey, if I help you out, aren't I helping my competitor? And that's a good question, right? And we have to, dispel that idea, because it's all about lifting all boats. If we build better online classes, everybody wins, right? So what we've started doing in Ohio just in the last couple of years is we use Slack. For those of you who've probably heard of Slack before, right? And we have channels on everything, like from LMS support, from all, the big three LMSs, to how do I get a review done, questions about, hey, I'm new here, I have review questions, I have master reviewer questions, how do I coach my faculty? I need to find a facilitator. It's all in Slack. Google Groups is 100% free. So we have statewide listservs for every single role. QM coordinator listserv, facilitator listservs, reviewer listservs, and you can find reviewers very easily that way just by knocking it out on the Google group. So great way to get instant communications. Oh, great. Yeah, we had, there's all the channels that we have. Some of them are just for the executive team. Those are the private channels, right? But it's so great when anybody can propose a channel and start a conversation. And that has been so wonderful to get kind of the instant communications. A lot of us have Slack on our cell phones. And if Jenny or Amy have a question, I'm just like, oh, here we go. Just message her, while I'm eating dinner. Ideally, not while you're eating dinner, but you get the idea. Because my wife would not be happy about that. Where we go? I would be in trouble. So there's our roles. And then how can you, oh, sorry. You know me, I ramble. I do. Here's Amy.
Okay, now what we wanted to ask you is, looking forward, what can you do beyond what we mentioned, beyond that communication? You got your wheels going in the right direction. Well, think about offering some professional development gatherings. It could be small, start small and work that way. And then also think about gathering together through the state or through the system, through this annual member meeting. Again, it was so great when we had this event at Walsh. It's a great chance for the administration to see, hey, QM Ohio, they're really passionate about what they do. It's important. Everyone is striving for this common goal. So it's a really, really great thing. It also helps to reboot a conversation or the topic of quality assurance in general. So that's always great. And then beyond that, think about building a bartering system. Again, we will help you with that. And then think about ways that you can continue faculty and staff on their path for future professional development. On the next slide, we wanted to give you a chance to see a picture from our annual member meeting that we had at Walsh, and also some general marketing materials over the last couple of years as we celebrate our successes.
You can see we color code the QM Ohio logo to match the institution that hosts it. It's kind of a fun way to support them in their efforts as well. Okay, so we have one more poll for you. What is something that you've heard in our time together, in our 38 minutes currently? What's one of your takeaways? And if everybody wants a gravy boat, it's a Sharpie on there. Yeah, the bartering reviews are an amazing way to help support each other. They really are. And you're going to have that discussion with yourself and with your faculty about, do they want to do a recertification or just start fresh and do, we found that finding a subject matter expert who's also a master reviewer was difficult. And so that's why what we're tending to do is we're going to plan to just do a full new review. Plus the clock starts again. longer. I like that, building a system even across superficially unrelated institutions. Yeah, but we all have the same goal, don't we? We're all here for our students. We're all here for quality courses for those students, and we want them to be successful. And so by helping each other, we're all helping. And from my perspective as a community college, our students transfer to the four-year schools. And so we want to make sure that the education they get from us at the two-year level is quality. So when they go into the four-year, they're more prepared to take those upper level classes.
So my question doesn't relate specifically to your situation, because you just, in Wyoming, we have 7 community colleges, 8 and university, and some private schools that we don't talk about, because we're part of states. But,
Is this like we don't talk about Bruno or?
we don't, and, but so my question is, do you think there's a place for bringing K-12 to that sort of scenario?
So the question is, in Wyoming, and I'm repeating this for our individuals on Zoom. So the question is, we have a smaller consortium in Wyoming of different size institutions, community colleges, private, so on and so forth. But is there an opportunity, do you think, to fold K-12 into that? That's a great question. That's something actually we've been asking in Ohio. When we tried to buy the domain ohioconsortium.com, it was the K-12 group that actually had purchased it. And I didn't know that. And then they won an award a few years ago and came out, we didn't know anybody who won the award. We're like, we need to make contact with those individuals. So education is a life cycle, right? From, going K-12 and then K to 16. So it would make sense to do that, but they're two different subscription models. So that's the challenge, but there are definite opportunities for collaboration there. And I would love to see that, because that would up our number of K-12 reviews as well. We have a lot of reviewers in the state that hold that role. I think you're a K-12 reviewer. Are you a K-12 reviewer too? Yeah, so we have 2 K-12 reviewers right here. I'm not. But leveraging that subject, I could be. If I had any time at all, I would. But yeah, it's definitely something that I think we should investigate. And I feel like it's a great marketing opportunity for institutions, because there's your captive audience of students that now know the architecture and the quality of courses at the secondary level, right? And now coming into your college or your system, choose from any institution in Ohio, and they have the same quality that you had at the K-12 level, if not better. So that's what we're really excited about. And hopefully we'll be able to make that happen in the future. It's one of our long-term stretch goals, but great question.
We also have growing number at most of our institutions of the CCP students, the College Credit Plus. And so we have students as young as 7th grade taking college level courses in our state. And so being able to tie into some of those quality aspects would be really helpful. Again, it's something that we want to do and plan to look into it, but we have to work out some of the logistics of it. So, other questions?
Questions online?
There you go. You got K-12 in Wyoming. So just so you know, the slide deck is available through the website and the app. It's also, Steve did a really great job putting together a new updated poster about us. It's not there yet, but it will be soon. So thank you. If you have any other questions that pop up sometimes when you're walking through the mall or sitting at dinner, you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked that. Feel free to find one of us and we'd be happy to answer your questions.